Back to Baking with Frank. Hey, sorry I missed you last week. We ended up taking a trip down to Austin, Texas. Whoa, things are getting crazy already. Taking a trip down to Texas, had a great time, but that kind of ran my time short. So here we are, back again. This week, we're doing cream puffs. This is one of Frank's recipes. Frank actually had two separate recipes for this in the book, so that means it must have been good. So we're gonna give this a run. This I know from watching other baking shows, requires a choux pastry, which is a cooked pastry that's cooked before you bake it, so it's a double cooked pastry. But anyway, we're gonna get started with this and get some things measured out here and see where we go. All right, so let's measure out the ingredients first. First, you're gonna need a half cup of butter, 4 ounces of butter, 1 stick of butter. You are going to need 4.5 ounces of all-purpose flour. Of course, we're always using all-purpose because that's what I have it here at the house. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm using kosher salt just because I like kosher salt. It's clean, it's all those good things that salt's supposed to be. And Frank's recipe actually, despite the flour already having this in it, has 1/8 of an ounce of ammonia. Now, that comes down in this recipe to a 32nd of an ounce. I love y'all, but I'm not gonna try to measure out a 32nd of an ounce. And I realize that it's probably already in the flour, but just out of deference to Frank, we're gonna put in that much. Just put that right on top. Salt's in there as well already. And we're gonna set that out just so that it's nice and light. All right, so here's where the magic starts to happen. I'm trying a little more light here because you need to see my belly better. All right. So, in this recipe, we have 1 cup of water, or 4.5 ounces of water, a half cup of butter, or 1 stick of butter, a cup of sifted flour, or 4.5 ounces of flour, 4 large eggs, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, plus the little bitty nib of baking soda. So, with choux pastry, you boil it first. So we're gonna throw this in here. I'm not gonna make you watch it boil because that would just be, well, a lot, let's be honest. But we'll get that boiling and we'll start stirring as soon as we get that done. So I will come back to you with my favorite German spoon as we stir it. All right, water's boiling, butter's going in. We're gonna take the favorite German spoon, give it a little stir. Why is it my favorite German spoon? Well, because I got it in Germany, for one, and I got it on a wonderful trip that included a stop in Munich with, that's when I put the stirring, with my better half and my beloved aunt, and we just had a fabulous time. So, this is my favorite spoon. It got a burn on it. We're not gonna talk about the burn, but still my favorite spoon. All right, so half stick of butter into the cup of water. We're gonna stir this, then put in all of the dry ingredients which have been sifted together and give that a good stir. So I'm gonna let this melt a little bit. We'll bring it back to a boil and then commence with the other ingredients. Okay, that's boiling. So, measured out all the ingredients, we saw that before. All of that going in at once, everybody in the pool. We're gonna stir that until it forms a ball. Now, I will probably trim this down later because this probably is not the most exciting thing you've watched today, but at the moment, both hands are busy. My tongue sadly is not long enough to reach the button, so you're just gonna have to watch me stir this until it forms a ball and all of the flour is incorporated. All right, off the heat, eggs go in one at a time. There's one that cracked. I'm not gonna talk about that. Stir them in until they're fully incorporated into the hot flour and such mixture. So interestingly, it's kind of scrambling on the bottom. So that's fun. Let's hope that it doesn't taste like scrambled eggs, because that doesn't sound delicious at all. But everything I looked at didn't say to cool it, so I didn't. So if it fails, we're gonna blame the interweb. All right, one more. There. And one more to go. This is the second most fascinating thing you'll watch all day. It is forming the ball again, so that's fun. Last egg. Everybody's in the pool. Oh, also we opened the pool. Then we had to close it because the cover didn't work. But you know, such is life. Why is it so hard? All right. Stir, stir, stir. Sounds like the rain has stopped. The dogs are away because the dogs don't like the rain. They are very well. Belle is very afraid of thunderstorms, and that just leads to her being glued to me, which when I'm carrying hot things doesn't usually work out well. All right, so I think that's what it's supposed to look like. That's what it seems to look like on the Great British Baking Show, so I'm gonna go with it. And we are going to put these on a pan. Okay, so we are going to take these out and do heaping tablespoons right there. Let's make some good sized cream puffs, in theory. They seem a little loose, so yeah, I'm gonna squinch them together a little bit. Like that. Hopefully that doesn't do anything destructive to them. I can't imagine that it will, but you know, whatever. I did look at a separate recipe for this, just to make sure that I was mixing them right. A non-Frank recipe, I know. But it said he did not lie. We are at exactly 12 of those. Pop them in here. Yes, there's not a silicone sheet on this one because I don't have one that size. Oven is preheated at 450 degrees. And we're gonna start those for 15 minutes. So setting the timer for 15 and we'll come back, you know. Well, so I figured while we are baking these, so the puffs are in the oven, first 20 minutes at 450, then reduce the oven to 325 and cook for another 25 minutes. First one might have been 15 minutes. Go with what I said the first time. Anyway, and then we're gonna scoop them out and let them dry for an additional 20 minutes, all that. But to be a cream puff, you gotta have cream, right? And I thought, well, you know, I could make cream, which would be lovely. But instead, going with our theme of what we have on hand, why not let our good friends at Jell-O help? All right, so 1 pack of Jell-O. We're gonna put that right in the bowl. This is such a difficult recipe. And then we're gonna add in some milk. And for this, I actually went out and got whole milk because it's a special treat, right? So let's make it a little extra special. So we're gonna do 1.5 cups of whole milk. I know, the box says 2. Stay with me. So here we are with 1 cup of milk in, 1/2 cup measured, and old granddad. You know, why not make it a little extra special? It's a holiday after all. Hey, it's May 1st, it's May Day. It is a holiday. Look at that. All right, so we are just going to find a whisk, which could be its own problem. Here we go. Whisk, not mom's. Mix that up. And according to the super difficult instructions that we got here, beat pudding, mix, and milk with whisk for 2 minutes. Pudding will be soft set in 5 minutes. Ooh, it smells yummy, y'all. All right, I hope one of you was counting because I was not on where we are in the 2 minutes. But we're gonna keep doing this just to make sure that it's all incorporated and life is good. Yep. There we go. All right, pudding is puddinging. Puffs are puffing. And it hits me that I have a half cup of whole milk left, and it's been a hot minute since I've had whole milk, so let's give this a run. Other than being a little bit like drinking an oil slick, pretty tasty. All right, the rest of this is gonna take a minute because the puffs have to go through all that stuff. So we're gonna let all that happen, come back when we're filling. So, not very successful, likely user error, but let's take a look. So here are the puffs that aren't very puffed, but took those, hollowed them out. Here's the final one. Super simple. Cut it in half. Pop out the soft goop. We talked about goop before. There it is. A little bit more. So that's all well and good, right? This I can live with. Is it what I expected? No. Can I live with it? Sure. This, on the other hand, is, well, not very creamy. It's very milky. So, you know, what are we gonna do? We're gonna make lemonade. And by lemonade, I mean whiskey in a husk. Never really try it anyway. All right. Now known as whiskey in a husk. There we go. Totally squirted out the other side. It's good. It's vanilla, it's whiskey, it's pastry. Except for the fact that it's, you know, not what we thought it was. It's good. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make these up. I'm gonna put them in the freezer. And later this summer, we're gonna have the best ice cream sandwiches ever known. All right, take care.